Hello, hi, namaste. This is Surabhi, your master teacher of chemistry at Vedantu. Welcome to this session, everyone. How are you? What's up? So today I'll be teaching you analytical chemistry in one shot. Yes, ready for it? So keep your water bottle here and have some snacks. Let's get started. Before that, if you are new to the channel, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, everyone. Do like the session and share this video with your friends. If you want to take up the pro subscription where you will be able to attend unlimited live classes with fun and high level quizzes, yes. So it's not like you will have to attend, you will only get to attend like some limited amount of sessions. No, you can attend any number of sessions. So the choice of schedule or the language is up to you. You will be competing with the students all over the world, and even if you couldn't attend the session, if you want to watch a replay, there also you can play the quiz. So after every session, handwritten notes of the master teachers will be provided, which you can download, and assignments will be shared with you. Tests will be conducted regularly. If you are a pro subscriber, जो भी micro course and crash course which Vedantu has started, so you can enroll into it for free of cost. You don't have to pay for it. So all you have to do is visit the link given in the description or in the pinned comment, or go to vdnt.in/ytpro. Use the coupon code SURPRO for some nice discount. Hanji. So more number of classes, less the price you need to pay. So choose wisely and take up the pro subscription. Coupon code क्या है? SURPRO. What is Mr. Bean doing here? He's also trying to do something. Let's see. The learning objective is analytical chemistry. So now what is this analytical chemistry? So analysis is determination, right? Determination. So when it comes to analytical chemistry, so it's basically a branch of chemistry where we try to determine the chemical components. Maybe the amount or the type. Okay, you have quantitative and qualitative analysis. So what is this qualitative analysis? Qualitative analysis which involves the identification of the unknown substance. So I'll just give you some salt, colorless compound. So I want you to know what are the radicals present in it, which cation or anion present in it. That is what is qualitative analysis. I'm not asking you about the amount of substance. So quantitative means it's all about the quantity. Okay, so it determines the composition of a mixture. So these many this percentage of this is present, or dash grams of this is present. That is what is the quantitative analysis. Now our focus will be on the qualitative analysis. How do you do it? If you want to know what are the substances present, okay, or what are the ions or the radicals present in a compound, obviously you need to conduct some tests, right? So जो भी substances है in that compound, in that substance, so might react with something else and will form some other substance. If there is change in the color or maybe the state of compound, then it will be easy for us to identify which ion or radical might be present in the given unknown compound. So we will use some set of reagents to analyze the given unknown substance. So reagent, what exactly is a reagent? So it is a substance that reacts with other substance. That is what is a reagent. Simple. Colors of the salts and their solution. See, if everything was colorless, it would have been very difficult for us to identify, right? Now we know, okay, copper sulfate, blue in color, ferrous sulfate, pale green, copper carbonate, green in color. So we know that, right? So whenever there is change in the color or formation of the precipitate, the color of the precipitate will help us to analyze or to determine the ions present in it. The salts of the representative elements are generally colorless, okay? That is, the normal elements which are present in group 1, 2, S and P block, they are generally colorless. But when it comes to the salts of transition elements, they are generally colored. We have ferrous sulfate, copper sulfate, है Different colors of colored salts help in their identification during qualitative analysis. So the color is very, very important for us. So when it comes to qualitative analysis, we rely a lot on the color of the compound which is being formed. Now let's see what happens when you add sodium hydroxide on certain metallic salt solutions. You don't know, okay? I have given you some salt, okay, which contains some metal ion, but which one is that? How will you determine? Okay, let's see. So what happens is, when I have a test tube of metallic salt solution, when I add sodium hydroxide to it, there will be formation of metal hydroxide in the form of precipitate. Insoluble solid will be formed. So if it is colored, obviously every metallic ion d block element it has its own color, right? So maybe based on that, we can identify that compound, and the color of the precipitate identifies the metal ion. That is very, very important. That's the key point here. Some precipitated metallic hydroxide dissolves in excess of hydroxide to give soluble complexes. So when it comes to few precipitates, when you add excess of sodium hydroxide, or we have ammonium hydroxide also, in that excess quantity, those precipitates will just dissolve and form the soluble complexes. We'll just see in detail. Okay, let's see. So potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide, their behavior is very much similar. Potassium hydroxide solution also shows similar behavior as that of sodium hydroxide. Now what happens? I have calcium nitrate. This is the salt of Ca2+, right? This is the basic radical or the metal ion part, and I am adding sodium hydroxide to it. So what can I expect? So there will be formation of white precipitate of what? Calcium hydroxide, and sodium nitrate is a solution. It will be in the solution form. It just dissolves in the solution. Okay, you can see the white precipitate of calcium hydroxide will be formed. And now coming to ferrous sulfate, 2NaOH plus ferrous sulfate. See, I'm talking, you don't know this. I have just given you a metal hydroxide, a metallic salt. Okay, you are adding sodium hydroxide to figure out what are the ions present in it. So here you will be getting Na2SO4 plus the ferrous hydroxide. Now उसका color क्या होगा? It will be green PPT. Next is I have ferric chloride. Again, you don't know, it's a solution. So NaOH plus ferric chloride, if you get that reddish brown PPT of ferric hydroxide, then okay, Fe3 plus might be present. Of course, you need to conduct some confirmation tests also. Okay, only by doing one reaction, you can't just write out or give the inference. Okay, this is what is present and all that. You have to conduct some like 2 to 3 tests to make sure that that is the ion present in that particular unknown substance. With copper salt, yes, it will be blue in color. So copper sulfate plus sodium hydroxide, you will get sodium sulfate, again aqueous solution, whereas CuOH twice, the precipitate form will be pale blue in color. So CuSO4 plus 2NaOH, you will get Na2SO4, that is sodium sulfate plus CuOH twice. If you see here, see when you are adding sodium hydroxide, so the copper sulfate solution, they will react, they both will react, and you will get the solid copper hydroxide. You might be wondering, ma'am, so copper sulfate to anyway it will be blue in color, ferrous sulfate is also blue in color, but that's not how the analysis work. Okay, so you have to, it is very, very important to conduct the test, use the reagents, and then come to a conclusion. Zinc salts. So zinc, it usually, it just gives out that white gelatinous PPT. Zinc sulfate plus sodium hydroxide, what will be the product? Hanji double displacement reaction. You will get sodium sulfate plus zinc hydroxide. White gelatinous PPT, precipitate of zinc hydroxide will be formed here. So excess, what happens when I add excess of NaOH? So haven't you seen this reaction before? NaOH plus zinc, sodium zincate will be formed. So when you add excess of sodium hydroxide, so this precipitate, the white gelatinous precipitate, it just dissolves in the solution, and you will get that water soluble substance, that is sodium zincate. Now coming to lead salts. So what is the oxidation state? Pb2+. Okay. So lead nitrate है आपके पास, plus you are adding sodium hydroxide to it. What can you expect? Lead hydroxide, and it will be of white color. White precipitate of lead hydroxide will be formed. When you add, so if you want to know, because ma'am, like most of the salts are forming white precipitate. But that also, there will be follow-up tests. Okay, I'll add acetic acid to it. So lead hydroxide, it just readily dissolves in acetic acid. There will be formation of a complex. Okay, so lead nitrate plus sodium hydroxide, you will get the PbOH twice. But what happens when you add excess of the sodium hydroxide? Again, there will be formation of a soluble and colorless complex. So this is a complex, right? It's not a simple compound. It's not sodium hydroxide or lead hydroxide. It's a complex. So there will be water soluble complex being formed. Next, what happens? This is how a salt reacts or forms precipitate when sodium hydroxide is added to it. Now what happens when sodium hydroxide or any water soluble base is heated with ammonium salts? Ammonia gases evolved. So that is one test which will let us know, okay, ammonium ion is present in that particular compound. Because of course ammonia, it has that very characteristic odor, right? But when it is in the form of compound, it's you can't just say it for sure that this contains ammonium. Of course that odor will be there, but it will be very, very mild. So what happens, you just have to add NaOH and there will be liberation of or evolution of ammonia. That's it. Next is action of ammonium hydroxide on certain salt solutions. We are done with sodium hydroxide, hai na? We saw how the salt solutions will form precipitate on the action of sodium hydroxide. Now let's see what happens when you add ammonium hydroxide to certain salt solutions. When the required amount of ammonium hydroxide is added dropwise to the solution of metallic salts, excess and dropwise, excess is not like pouring out the whole bottle, okay? Whenever we are doing these reactions, we'll add everything in dropwise. Maximum 5 ml, 3 ml, that's all. So when you are adding it in excess, thoda sa, maybe, like 5 ml extra, that's how it is. Excess, don't imagine in that way. Where was I? So it is added, ammonium hydroxide is added dropwise to the metallic salts. Of course, there will be formation of precipitates, and because of the distinct colors, you can identify the presence of a certain basic radical. Let's just look at the individual tests. But as we did it in sodium hydroxide, so when you add excess of sodium hydroxide, few precipitates dissolves and forms complexes, right? Here also the same thing happens. Few precipitates dissolves on addition of excess of ammonium hydroxide and complex will be formed. Yes. So calcium salts. No precipitation of calcium hydroxide. You add excess of ammonium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, like, bhai, do not disturb me. No. So it is not gonna form, because when it comes to precipitation and all that, I guess I have mentioned this, it depends on the solubility and the ionic product and everything which you will be studying in higher grades. The concentration of the hydroxide ion from the ionization of ammonium hydroxide is low because it's a weak base, right? It is not undergoing complete ionization, so that the concentration is not enough for the precipitation of the calcium hydroxide. Isliye on addition of ammonium hydroxide to calcium salts, there won't be any precipitate. With iron, so you have Fe2 plus or Fe3 plus. What happens? FeSO4 plus ammonium hydroxide, you will get that dirty green precipitate. And with, you can see the color here. Yeah, I was about to say Fe3 plus. See, this is what is dirty green precipitate. Don't worry, you will be doing all these tests or the qualitative analysis once you enter 11th and 12th grade. FeCl3, here the oxidation state of iron is 3 plus ammonium hydroxide, you will be getting reddish brown PPT. See, Fe2 plus ferrous, it will be green color. Okay, the compound, the salt or the precipitate form will be like, variety of shades of green. And when the oxidation state of iron is Fe3 plus, it is 3 plus, then reddish brown PPT will be formed. Here it is ferric hydroxide, so it will be reddish brown in color. See, of course, once you are adding that ammonium hydroxide, this is how it the test tube looks like, but after a while the precipitate just settles down at the bottom. So FeSO4 thrice, ammonium hydroxide, again you will get ferric hydroxide, which is reddish brown in color. Now with copper, what happens is, yes, you will get CuOH twice, which is blue in color. And this is precipitate, okay, it's not solution, it just settles down. It needs some time to sediment, right? So CuSO4 plus ammonium hydroxide, you will get blue PPT of the copper hydroxide. You can see here CuOH twice will be insoluble and then it just settles down. But what happens when I add excess of ammonium hydroxide? That CuOH twice dissolves and forms a complex which is deep blue in color. I'll just show it to you. See, this is the difference. Copper sulfate, and this is the complex being formed. So CuOH twice, first it will be in the form of precipitate. When you are adding excess of ammonium hydroxide, that CuOH twice dissolves and then formation of that complex will take place, which is deep blue in color. So that is how we just confirm, okay, it is copper ion. So this reaction is a characteristic property of Cu2 plus ion, because like, okay, there are chances, okay, how do you know it is Cu2 plus only? So there will be formation of blue precipitate, just add excess of ammonium hydroxide. If it is soluble, if it is forming a deep blue complex, then that compound or the salt definitely contains Cu2 plus ions. Zinc salts, that is Zn2 plus. So what will be the color of the precipitate? Gelatinous white PPT, zinc hydroxide. So zinc sulfate plus ammonium hydroxide, you will get ammonium sulfate and zinc hydroxide, which is of white in color. See, there is this difference between the gelatinous PPT or that curdy kind of texture and the crystalline PPT. Okay, so this gelatinous white will be almost like, I don't know, like kind of gel kind of structure. So that's how it looks like. So zinc sulfate plus ammonium hydroxide, you will get ammonium sulfate plus zinc hydroxide, but with excess of ammonium hydroxide, so it dissolves, and again, as I told you, there will be formation of a complex which will be colorless. Okay, it just dissolves. With again zinc chloride, zinc sulfate, with ammonium hydroxide, you will get zinc hydroxide, which will be white in color. Next is lead salt. So here we have taken lead nitrate plus ammonium hydroxide, that chalky white precipitate of lead hydroxide will be formed. Lead hydroxide, and it precipitates out. So how do you, based on the structure, as I told you, the texture, we have this gelatinous PPT, the chalky white PPT. Next is action of alkalis on metals. So what are alkalis? Water soluble bases. So how do they react with metals? Alkalis plus metals, hydrogen gas will be liberated. So metals like zinc, aluminium react with hot concentrated alkalis to give the corresponding soluble salts and liberate hydrogen. So few of the metals like zinc, aluminium and the lead, they do not react with a normal temperature alkalis. You need to heat it and you have to take the concentrated alkalis, only then they will react and there will be formation of the corresponding salt along with the evolution of hydrogen gas. Now let's see what happens. Zinc plus alkali. NaOH is alkali, yes. So what will be formed? Sodium zincate, very good, along with the liberation of hydrogen gas. With the potassium also, same thing. Action of alkalis on aluminium. As I told you, it should be boiling and dilute alkali. So aluminium reacts only with boiling and dilute alkali. That means when you are writing NaOH, you need to write H2O as well, because we have taken the dilute alkali, not the concentrated one. Right, concentrated with the amount of water will be like, you can just neglect it, but as you are taking dilute alkali, you need to mention water as well. So 2 aluminium plus sodium hydroxide, you will get sodium aluminate, and there will be evolution of hydrogen gas. And how does this sodium hydroxide react with lead? Sodium plumbite will be formed along with the liberation of hydrogen gas. Same hands. Next is action of alkalis on metal oxide. Alkalis on metals we are done. Alkalis plus metal oxides. Will there be any difference? Oxides of most of the metals are basic in nature, right? So as they are basic in nature and alkalis are also basic in nature, so what do you think? So they dissolve in water forming hydroxides. So you have Na2O plus H2O, you will get NaOH. So these metallic oxides, the metal oxides, as they are basic in nature, of course they won't react with the alkalis. They might undergo neutralization reaction with acids, but with bases they cannot react. But we have amphoteric oxides. So few metal oxides, they do react with acids as well as bases, and they are called as amphoteric oxides. We have aluminium oxide, zinc oxide. So what do they do? Here I just told you metal oxides does not react with the alkalis because both are basic in nature. But these amphoteric oxides, yes, they do react with acids as well as bases. So amphoteric oxides and hydroxides are those compounds which reacts with both acids and alkalis to form salt and water. Action of alkalis on zinc oxide. Okay? So zinc oxide is a metal oxide, but it is amphoteric in nature. So of course here it will be acting as an acid. It will have that acidic nature. You will be getting salt and water. It's a neutralization reaction. So sodium zincate and water will be formed. So here also potassium zincate and water will be formed because zinc oxide is acting as an acid here. So zinc oxide done. Zinc hydroxide, also you will get the same product. Same product. It is again a neutralization reaction. But when you are balancing the equation, as there is this OH twice, so maybe when you are balancing it, you need to add 2 and all that. The number of hydrogens will be more, no, if you compare. See? That's the only difference. Okay, the products formed will be same. Oxide, yeah, hydroxide, salt and water will be formed. So action of alkalis on aluminium oxide. So sodium aluminate plus water, again salt and water will be formed. With potassium hydroxide, potassium aluminate plus water will be formed. So here aluminium oxide is acidic in nature, so plus base you will get salt and water. Aluminium hydroxide, same product, AlOH thrice plus NaOH. What will you get? Sodium aluminate plus water. Or KOH plus AlOH thrice. What can you expect? Sodium aluminate plus water. So amphoteric oxides and hydroxides on action of alkalis. What are the products? Salt and water. Action of alkalis on lead oxide, again, so you will be getting sodium plumbite. So PbO plus NaOH plus water. Maybe even if you take the hydroxide also, you will get the same products. Okay, oxide, hydroxide of the which are amphoteric in nature, like lead or zinc or aluminium, their oxides and hydroxides on the action of the alkalis or the bases, you will get 2 products, water and salt. So that is it. This is the reaction, the whole chapter. Here I know when I explained, it seems very easy, but what I wanted to do is you need to practice a lot, children. Okay, writing equation, because maybe after we are done with one shots, we will be starting a new series where I'll make sure that you know how to predict the products. Okay, I'll give you the reactants and you have to predict the products. But till then, please do just don't leave it like that. Practice equations and the reactions, and see, when you just keep on practicing, at one point you'll be like, if you just look at the reactants, you will know what are the products. Okay, but to go to that level, practicing and working hard is very, very important. I know this chapter has a lot of equations, right? This chapter is filled with equations, but they are not that difficult because the way the reaction is taking place, it's similar. It's very much similar. You are just changing the metal part, है ना? Oxide hydroxide, sodium hydroxide with calcium salt, sodium hydroxide with zinc salt, sodium hydroxide with lead salts. That's the only difference. So there will be change in the color of precipitate, but the whole reaction, the type, the general reaction will be same. So what I want to do is just make a table and start practicing it. If you have any doubts or if you don't know how to just move forward, then just let me know. Thank you so much for watching the video, and if you are for the first time, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. If you want to take up the pro subscription, you can visit the link given in the description and in the pinned comment. Use the coupon code SURPR. Yes, what's the code? So you will get the PDF of this session as well very soon. So please go through it and practice a lot. Done. So if you use the coupon code SURPR, you will be able to save a lot more number of classes, lesser the price you need to pay. So think wisely and take up the pro subscription. Yay! And class 10 students opportunity to be a part of Vedantu's JEE or NEET batches. The test will be conducted on 31st Jan 2021 at 10 AM. So mental ability and math, if you join this Telegram group, so you will get all the updates. And already Harsh sir has made a separate video on it. It is available on our channel as well and Vedantu 910 everywhere. So do watch it. If you have any queries, just let us know. It's a very good opportunity. So join the Telegram group now. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.